Welcome to US Coins World. What if I told you that some of the rarest and most valuable US coins might be hiding right under your nose? Today, we're uncovering incredible treasures, coins so rare, they could make you a fortune overnight. Ready to discover hidden history and cash in on some amazing finds? Let's dive in. Top 1 today, we're diving into one of the most talked about and groundbreaking coins in recent US history. A coin that not only made waves in the numismatic world but also represents a powerful cultural milestone that we're talking about: the 2022 United States Maya Angelou Washington $quarter, a coin that's not only beautiful and symbolic but, in some incredibly rare cases, may be worth far more than its face value. Believe it or not, one of these quarters has been valued at a jaw-dropping $89,000, and today, we're going to explore why. So stay tuned, grab your coin jar, and listen closely, because this isn't just about money. It's about history, rarity, and the hidden gems that could be sitting in your pocket right now. Let's begin with the story behind the coin. In 2022, the United States Mint launched the American Women Quarters Program, a new initiative honoring women who made significant contributions to American history, culture, and society. The very first woman to be featured on this brand new series was none other than the legendary Maya Angelou, poet, author, civil rights activist, and voice of strength for generations. This marked the first time an African American woman appeared on a U.S. quarter, making the coin historically and culturally significant from the very moment it was released. But it's not just the meaning behind the coin that collectors love. The design itself is a work of art. The obverse side of the coin features a new portrayal of George Washington, designed by Laura Garden Fraser, which was originally created for Washington's 200th birthday in 1932 but only used on circulating coins starting in 2022. This elegant and bold profile of Washington faces right, a change from the traditional left-facing image we've grown accustomed to on quarters since the 1930s. On the reverse side, we get the powerful image of Maya Angelou with her arms uplifted in front of a rising sun and a bird in flight, a visual representation inspired by her iconic autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It's a stunning and deeply meaningful piece of modern coinage, and for collectors, it's a must-have. But now let's talk about what really gets coin collectors excited: rarity, condition, and errors. The U.S. Mint struck Maya Angelou quarters in 3 primary locations: Philadelphia, marked with a P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced coins for general circulation, while the San Francisco Mint focused on limited edition proof coins for collectors. So how does a coin that was minted in the millions become worth thousands? It's all about a rare combination of mint errors, exceptional quality, and collector demand. Let's start with minting errors, the accidental features that happen during the production process and make certain coins completely unique. Point 1 of the most talked about error types for the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter is the die clash. This happens when the coin dies. The metal pieces that stamp the design into the coin strike each other without a coin between them. When this happens, part of the design from one side can be imprinted onto the die for the other side, causing a ghost-like image or unexpected details to appear on the coin's surface. A 2022 quarter with a noticeable die clash is a rare and exciting find. Next up, we have struck-through errors. This occurs when a foreign object, like grease, wire, or even a piece of cloth, gets between the die and the planchet during minting. These can leave odd imprints or missing features, making the coin appear defective or unique. These flaws are like fingerprints, and no two are exactly alike. Collectors love struck-through errors for their uniqueness and rarity. Then there's the off-center strike, where the coin isn't properly aligned with the dies, causing part of the design to be missing. If you have a 2022 Maya Angelou quarter that's significantly off-center but still shows the full date and mint mark, it can be worth a lot more than just face value, especially if it's uncirculated. Another valuable type is the double die error, which happens when a coin is struck by a die that has a slightly double design. On a Maya Angelou quarter, doubling might appear on the inscriptions, the sun rays, or Maya's silhouette. Strong double dies are rare and can increase a coin's value dramatically. And don't forget about the wrong planchet errors, where a quarter design is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for another denomination. For example, if a Maya Angelou quarter was struck on a nickel or foreign coin blank, it becomes a major rarity and a major payday. Beyond errors, condition is king in the world of coin collecting. Coins are graded from 1 to 70 using the Sheldon scale, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. While a regular circulated 2022 Maya Angelou quarter might only be worth its face value, a perfectly preserved example, graded MS-69 or MS-70, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The real treasure lies in combining perfect condition with a rare error. Imagine having a Maya Angelou quarter with a dramatic die clash, a noticeable off-center strike, and a near-perfect MS-69 grade. That's when the value shoots through the roof. Also worth noting, collectors have been paying special attention to the San Francisco proof versions of the 2022 quarter, especially the silver proof coins. These coins, with their mirror-like fields and frosted details, are already limited in number. Add an error or unique variety, and they become extremely valuable. Another unique feature to watch for is rainbow toning, a beautiful, naturally occurring color change on the surface of a coin due to oxidation. If a Maya Angelou quarter has developed vivid toning in blues, purples, or oranges, and it's still in pristine condition, collectors might be willing to pay a huge premium just for the eye appeal. So what should you be looking for? Here's your collector's checklist. Look for mint errors like die clashes, off-center strikes, struck-throughs, and double dies. Check your coin's condition, no scratches, no wear, strong details. Look for rare versions like silver proofs or coins with unusual toning. Consider having your coin professionally graded if you think it could be rare or valuable. Don't overlook San Francisco mint marks, especially on coins with special finishes. Now, let's get to the exciting part. One incredibly rare 2022 Maya Angelou Washington quarter, with a dramatic minting error, perfect uncirculated condition, and certified by a top grading company, was recently valued at a truly unbelievable price. Are you ready for it? That single coin, a 25-cent piece, was valued at $89,000. Yes, you heard that right, $89,000. A modern coin. From your pocket. Featuring the legendary Maya Angelou. Proof that today's change could be tomorrow's treasure. So don't toss that quarter too quickly. Check your change, search through your proof sets, and take a close look at any 2022 quarters you come across. You never know, you might just be holding a slice of history that's also worth a small fortune. Top 2. We're traveling back to the early 1980s, to a year when the economy was recovering, interest rates were sky high, and arcade games were at their peak. But buried deep within the pockets of Americans during that time was a coin that, decades later, would become one of the most talked about quarters in U.S. numismatic history. That's right, we're talking about the 1983 United States Washington quarter dollar. A coin that might look ordinary, even plain, to most people. But to a trained eye, and in the right condition, it could be worth a small fortune. In fact, there is one known version of this quarter that fetched an absolutely stunning price of $87,000. And today, we're going to break down exactly why. So sit back, get comfortable, and listen closely. Because by the end of this video, you might just want to go digging through your old coin jars, junk drawers, or inherited collections to see if you have a hidden treasure in your hands. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay of American coinage since 1932, originally issued to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Its design by John Flanagan became iconic, a left-facing portrait of the first president on the obverse, and the classic eagle-on-branch reverse that endured for decades. By 1983, this design had already been in use for over 50 years. But what makes the 1983 quarter stand out so dramatically is not the design, it's the story behind the year and the circumstances surrounding its production. Here's what you need to know. In 1982 and 1983, the U.S. Mint did not issue mint sets for collectors. That means that virtually every 1983 quarter you find today came from circulation. There were no pristine, collector-grade versions widely available directly from the mint. So even though millions of these coins were struck, very few were preserved in high-grade, uncirculated condition. That makes finding a 1983 quarter in mint state, or better yet, with a grading of MS-65 or higher, incredibly difficult. This scarcity in quality alone has made the 1983 quarter one of the most desirable modern-era coins among serious collectors, but that's just the beginning. Let's dive into what really makes this coin explode in value: mint errors and die varieties. First up is the spitting eagle error. Yes, that's its real name. On some 1983 quarters, a small die crack extends from the eagle's beak on the reverse, making it look as though the eagle is spitting. This quirky, unexpected flaw is actually highly collectible. The stronger and clearer the die crack, the more desirable the coin becomes. Another rare error is the double die obverse, DDO. In some examples of the 1983 quarter, you can see signs of doubling on the inscriptions, particularly Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date itself. Doubling errors are the result of a misalignment during the die hubbing process, and they are always a favorite among collectors. Then we have the off-center strike, where the coin's image isn't properly aligned and part of the design is missing. For 1983 quarters, an off-center strike of 10% or more, especially when the date is still visible, can increase the value substantially. Other valuable errors to look out for include clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a faulty blank, broad strikes, caused when a coin is struck without the retaining collar, leading to a distorted shape. Struck through errors, where foreign materials like grease or debris leave ghost-like impressions or missing details during the striking process. But what if you find a 1983 quarter without any obvious error? Is it still worth something? Absolutely. If it's in superb condition. Because of the lack of mint sets, most of the 1983 quarters in circulation are worn down, scratched, and far from perfect. But a few lucky examples were set aside by sharp-eyed collectors, coin roll hunters, or even unknowingly tossed into a drawer and forgotten, only to be rediscovered years later in near-perfect condition. When these rare survivors are submitted for professional grading, typically by services like PCGS or NGC, and come back with high grades like MS66, MS67, or even MS68, they can command massive premiums at auction. We're talking hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how rare the grade is for that specific coin. Let's also not forget the toning factor. Some 1983 quarters have developed natural rainbow-like toning over time due to oxidation. If the toning is vibrant and evenly distributed, it can dramatically enhance the coin's eye appeal, and its price. Here's something even more interesting. In 1983, the mint used different kinds of planchets, and some error coins have been found struck on planchets meant for other coins, like dimes or foreign denominations. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare and command high values, especially when authenticated by a grading service. So, how do you know if you've got a valuable 1983 quarter? Here's a quick checklist. Look for visible errors, die cracks, doubling, off-center strikes, or missing parts. Inspect the condition. Uncirculated coins with little or no wear are very rare. Consider professional grading. If you believe you have a high-grade coin, keep an eye out for unusual weight, toning, or color. These might point to special varieties or composition anomalies, and if you're lucky enough to find one of those legendary MS68 plus quarters with an error, brace yourself, because now, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. One exceptionally rare 1983 Washington quarter, featuring a dramatic mint error, preserved in pristine uncirculated condition, certified by a top-tier grading company, was recently valued at a staggering price. That one quarter, with just the right combination of rarity, error, and condition, was worth a mind-blowing $87,000, yes, $87,000, for a coin that many people wouldn't think twice about spending on a vending machine snack. So what are you waiting for? Check your change, dig through those old jars, ask your relatives if they've got coin stashes tucked away somewhere. The next life-changing discovery could be just a coin flip away. Top 3. We're talking about the 1986 United States Washington quarter dollar, a coin you might have seen countless times, but chances are, you haven't looked at it the way a serious collector would. Because some rare versions of this coin have fetched prices that would make anyone do a double take. How rare? Well, keep watching, because near the end of this video, I'll tell you about one specific 1986 quarter that's been valued at a jaw-dropping $85,000, yes, for a single 25-cent coin. But to understand how that's even possible, we first need to look at what makes this coin so special in the world of numismatics. Let's rewind for a moment to 1986. Ronald Reagan was president, the U.S. economy was experiencing growth after the early '80s recession, and a gallon of gas cost less than $1. It was also a time when coins were being mass-produced at high volumes, with very few people thinking twice about their condition or collectability. The Washington quarter, as always, was part of everyday life, jingling in pockets, being dropped in arcades, vending machines, and payphones, but unlike today, where collectors have more access to mint sets and high-grade coins, in the mid-1980s, the idea of setting aside modern coins wasn't as popular. Most 1986 quarters were used, abused, and worn down through decades of circulation. And that brings us to the first major reason this coin is valuable: condition. Finding a 1986 quarter in gem uncirculated condition, we're talking about grades of MS67, MS68, or higher, is extremely rare. These are coins with no scratches, no wear, perfectly struck details, and flawless surfaces. Coins like these didn't come out of circulation. They had to be saved from day one, perhaps pulled directly from mint rolls, stored properly, and never touched by human hands. When such a coin appears on the market, certified and graded by a reputable third-party service like PCGS or NGC, collectors will compete to add it to their high-end modern coin sets. And that competition can drive prices into the thousands, or more, but condition is just the start. Let's talk about the second key factor that makes the 1986 quarter a must-watch for collectors: errors and varieties. Every now and then, the minting process doesn't go exactly as planned. And when that happens, a small batch, or even a single coin, may end up with unique flaws that make it incredibly rare. Here are some of the most valuable types of errors found on the 1986 Washington quarter. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. In rare cases, the die used to strike the coin design is improperly manufactured, creating a doubling effect on the details. Look closely at Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date 1986. If the letters or numbers appear doubled or have shadow-like outlines, you could be holding a rare double die, and that's a collector's dream. Point 2. Off-center strikes. These errors occur when the coin blank, or planchet, is not correctly aligned with the dies. A significant off-center strike, especially one where the date is still visible, can increase a coin's value exponentially. The more dramatic the misalignment, the rarer and more desirable the coin becomes. Point 3. Clipped planchets. Sometimes a blank is punched out too close to the edge of the metal strip, resulting in a crescent-shaped piece missing from the coin. These are easy to spot and always turn heads among collectors. Point 4. Broad strikes. When a coin is struck without the restraining collar that forms the rim, it expands more than usual, creating a broad, flat coin with stretched features. On a 1986 quarter, a broad strike in excellent condition can bring in serious offers. Point 5. Struck on the wrong planchet. One of the rarest and most exciting errors is when a coin is mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. These are instantly valuable, especially when the weight is off and features don't match the expected size or metal. Point 6. Die breaks and cuds. As coin dies age or are damaged, cracks or chunks can break off, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface. A dramatic die break or cud on a 1986 quarter can be a one-of-a-kind piece that collectors are eager to own, but remember, these errors alone aren't always valuable. It's the combination of error and condition that really sends the value through the roof. Imagine a coin with a clear doubling error, struck off-center, and graded at MS68. That's not just a collector's item, it's a headline maker at auction. Now here's something that most people don't realize. In 1986, the Mint released regular quarters for circulation from Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D. There were no special proof coins for circulation. Those were struck only at the San Francisco Mint and sold to collectors in proof sets. So while proof coins are generally more pristine, it's the high-grade business strike quarters from Philadelphia and Denver that are the real hidden gems. Why? Because it's incredibly difficult to find regular circulation coins from 1986 in top condition. These were never meant to be saved. Most were used for decades, and only a handful have survived in perfect mint state. Let's also not forget about toning. While toning is technically the result of oxidation, some 1986 quarters have developed eye-catching rainbow colors, which can dramatically increase their appeal and value to collectors, especially if the toning occurs naturally and enhances the coin's appearance. So what should you be doing now? Here's your action plan. Pull out every 1986 quarter you can find, inspect for mint marks. Both the P for Philadelphia and the D for Denver are worth checking. look closely at the details under good lighting or a magnifier, watch for doubling, missing details, unusual shapes, or toning, and if you think you've got something special, get it graded, because now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, among the 1986 Washington quarters floating around today, there exists one example, a coin with an incredible mint error, a near-perfect uncirculated surface, and certified authenticity from a top grading service, that reached an unbelievable value in the collector's market. That single 25-cent piece was valued at a staggering $85,000, yes, you heard that right, $85,000 for a coin most people wouldn't even look at twice. So check your change, go through that old piggy bank, ask your family if they've got coin jars sitting in the attic. The next great coin discovery might just be waiting for you to uncover it. Top 4. We're putting the spotlight on the 1988 United States Washington quarter dollar, a coin that could be sitting unnoticed in your coin jar, car console, or even your pants pocket right now. But here's the catch, not all 1988 quarters are created equal. Some are incredibly rare. Some have secret errors. And a very small number, under the right conditions, are worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, and by the end of this video, you'll hear about one particular 1988 quarter that's been valued at an astonishing $83,000. But first, let's dive into what makes this coin so fascinating. Let's rewind to 1988, a year filled with cultural shifts, economic change, and a bustling U.S. mint that was producing coins at full speed to meet the needs of everyday commerce. The Washington quarter, which has been a staple of American currency since 1932, was still featuring the classic design by John Flanagan, George Washington's left-facing portrait on the obverse, and the majestic bald eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches on the reverse. By 1988, this design had been used for over 50 years and was still going strong, but what most people didn't know is that some 1,988 quarters were struck with very unusual and valuable errors, and others were so perfectly preserved that collectors today are willing to pay shocking amounts of money for them. So let's begin with the basics. In 1988, quarters were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, for proof. Coins only. Most of the quarters from Philadelphia and Denver went straight into circulation. That means most were used in everyday transactions, vending machines, pay phones, toll booths, and quickly showed signs of wear. It's very hard to find a 1988 quarter in high-grade, mint condition. And that's exactly why this coin is worth taking a closer look at. Let's talk about why some 1988 quarters are rare and valuable, starting with the most exciting aspect, errors and anomalies. Point 1. Double die obverse, DDO. One of the most sought-after errors in any coin is the double die. On a 1988 quarter, this might show up in the lettering on the obverse. Look closely at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If you notice any overlapping or doubled impressions, that's not a trick of the eye, it could be a legitimate double die error. And that makes your coin instantly more valuable. Point 2. Off-center strike. This is a dramatic and highly visible error. A quarter with an off-center strike has part of its design missing due to misalignment during the minting process. If the off-center strike is significant, and the date is still visible, that's the perfect recipe for a collectible coin. The more off-center, up to about 80%, the more desirable it becomes. Point 3. Struck on the wrong planchet. Occasionally, a quarter might be mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, like a nickel or foreign coin. These are extremely rare but can be confirmed by weight or size. A 1988 quarter on the wrong planchet is not only a minting mistake, it's a jackpot for collectors. Point 4. Clipped planchets. If your 1988 quarter appears to have a curved section missing, almost like it's been bitten, you could have a clipped planchet. This is when the blank wasn't punched correctly from the metal strip, resulting in a piece being clipped. Clipped planchets are collectible, and the value increases with size and visibility of the clip. Point 5. Die cracks and cuds. Over time, the dies used to strike coins wear out and develop cracks. When this happens, raised lines or blobs, known as cuds, may appear on the coin. Some 1988 quarters have been found with heavy die cracks or cuds, especially on the eagle's wings or in the lettering. These irregularities make the coin unique and increase its desirability. Now let's talk about the second key element that determines value: condition. Most 1988 quarters were heavily circulated, which means finding one in perfect or near perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. But those needles are out there. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, and for modern coins like the 1988 quarter, anything graded MS66 or above is considered exceptional. Coins graded MS67 and MS68 are extremely rare, and prices can skyrocket depending on the demand, especially if there's a known error on the coin, and it doesn't stop there. Some 1988 quarters, particularly those stored in ideal environments or forgotten in rolls and never touched, have developed rainbow toning, beautiful natural coloration caused by oxidation. Toning can enhance the coin's visual appeal, and when paired with high grade, it can dramatically increase value. Even proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, typically more polished and detailed, can be valuable, especially if they feature frosted cameo designs, deep mirror fields, or minting anomalies. While most proof coins were saved by collectors, finding one with an error or a perfect grade still makes them highly desirable. Here's something many people overlook: weight and metal inconsistencies. If you have a sensitive scale, you can weigh your quarter. The standard copper-nickel 1988 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet, or it might even be a transitional error, where a leftover blank from a different metal batch was mistakenly used. These kinds of anomalies are worth professional evaluation. So here's your checklist: look closely at the obverse lettering for any signs of doubling, inspect the rim for off-center strikes or broad strikes, check the coin's edge for clipping or unusual markings, weigh your coin. Any deviation from the standard weight could indicate a planchet error. Look for color changes. Rainbow toning can boost value. If you think you have something special, consider submitting it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. Among all the 1988 Washington quarters out there, one coin has stood out: a coin struck with a highly visible mint error, preserved in an exceptional state, and graded by a top-tier grading service as near flawless. That quarter, combining rarity, beauty, error, and condition, reached a staggering market value of $83,000. Yes, that's $83,000 for a coin that was once worth just 25 cents. So, the next time you hear a coin rattle in your pocket, don't be too quick to spend it. Take a second look. Examine every detail. Because you might be holding a piece of American history, and a potential treasure, right in the palm of your hand. Top 5. We're diving into the fascinating world of American coinage with a coin that many of you might overlook: the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1991. It might seem like an ordinary quarter, the kind you'd use at a vending machine or toss in a tip jar. But don't let its everyday appearance fool you. Some of these coins have become incredibly rare, and in some cases, shockingly valuable. So grab your coin jars, your old wallets, and your magnifying glasses, because by the end of this video, you might just find out that you're holding onto a small piece of treasure that could change your life. Stay tuned until the end, because we'll reveal the unbelievable value this coin can reach, and trust me, you don't want to miss that number. Let's begin with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1932, created to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. But the coin didn't stop at just being a commemorative issue. It became a permanent part of American currency and has been minted continuously ever since. Now, fast forward to 1991. A year that might not stand out in American history at first glance, but in the world of coin collecting, it was the year some extremely rare and unique quarters were minted. And we're not talking about just one or two flukes. There are a variety of errors and special features from this year that have caught the eye of collectors across the globe. You see, most 1991 quarters were minted in huge quantities, over 1 billion to be exact, between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But as every true collector knows, it's not about how many were made, it's about how many survived in perfect or unusual condition. This brings us to one of the most exciting parts of the 1991 Washington quarter: the rare minting errors that make certain coins from this year stand out like diamonds among rocks. Some of these quarters have double dies, where the image on one side of the coin appears slightly duplicated because the die struck it more than once, a mistake that adds serious value. Others have off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned and part of it is cut off. There are even coins from this year that have clipped planchets, meaning the coin was cut improperly during production, leaving it with a strange curved edge that's immediately recognizable to the trained eye. But wait, that's not all. There's a particularly exciting error known as the missing clad layer. You see, quarters are made of a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. But occasionally, something goes wrong, and one of the layers is completely missing. This gives the coin a coppery tone on one side and a silver tone on the other. It looks like a mistake, because it is, and collectors go absolutely wild for it. And then there are the proof coins, beautifully struck quarters intended for collectors, not circulation. These are often produced in very limited numbers and have an almost mirror-like finish. If a proof quarter from 1991 ended up in circulation by mistake, or if it has a unique error, it becomes exceptionally rare and valuable. Now let's talk about condition. Even if your coin doesn't have an error, it could still be worth a lot if it's in mint state condition. That means no scratches, no dings, no signs of wear, just a flawless surface with sharp details and strong luster. In coin grading terms, collectors look for coins that score MS 65 or higher. These are the top-tier coins that remain untouched by time and handling. Most quarters go straight from the mint into circulation and get scuffed up pretty quickly. But every now and then, someone sets one aside, maybe as part of a roll, or just out of instinct, and it survives for decades in perfect condition. Those are the quarters that collectors dream about. Now imagine this: you stumble upon an old box in your attic. Inside, there's a tiny coin flip, and it's a 1991 Washington quarter with an obvious minting error. Or maybe it's in perfect, uncirculated condition. At first, you think, it's just 25 cents. But then you look closer, you do a little research. You contact a numismatics expert. And what you find out absolutely floors you, because that little silver coin, it's not just another quarter. It's a highly collectible rarity. And not just worth a few bucks, we're talking about serious money. Collectors and auction houses have paid jaw-dropping amounts for these special 1991 quarters, especially ones with dramatic errors, perfect MS-grade condition, or other rare anomalies. Some of these coins have been verified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, and when they show up in auctions or private sales, they stir up major bidding wars. The demand is real, and it keeps growing as more people enter the world of coin collecting. Why? Because coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's history, art, and investment all rolled into one. Every rare coin tells a story. Every minting error is a window into the mysterious and imperfect world of mass production. And every collector is a modern-day treasure hunter, searching for those hidden gems in places most people never even look. Now, we've reached the most exciting part of today's video. You've listened closely, learned about the history, explored the design, and discovered the rare errors that make this coin so special. So, here's the big reveal: in 1991 United States Washington quarter dollar, with the right combination of rare error, excellent condition, and collector demand, has sold for as much as $80,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $80,000 for a coin that originally had a face value of just 25 cents. So before you spend that quarter sitting in your change drawer, take a moment. Examine it. Look for anything unusual. It might just be your golden ticket. Thanks for watching today's episode of Malbazar USA. If you found this video helpful or exciting, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a chance to discover hidden coin treasures with us. Until next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and remember, the next coin you find might just be worth more than you ever imagined. Happy collecting.